Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into the fascinating currents of information today, pulling out those gleaming nuggets of knowledge you didn't even know you needed. Today, we're focusing on something that subtly, sometimes quite overtly, captures our attention. Sometimes causing us to overlook what's truly significant.
Right. It happens all the time.
It does. It's a phenomenon as old as ancient empires, yet, well, as relevant as this morning's breaking news, we're embarking on a deep dive into bread and circuses.
The classic phrase.
Exactly. Ancient roots, but it powerfully illuminates a force at play in today's world. Our mission. Explore its origins. Understand how it manifests all around us right now.
And for you listening, navigating this environment, it's just so full of information, but also, heavy with distractions. Understanding this concept is, I think, more crucial than ever.
Yeah.
It's about sharpening your ability to see the signal through the noise. And crucially, to recognize when that noise is maybe being deliberately amplified.
Indeed. So to really grasp bread and circuses today, we have to go back, way back. Ancient Rome.
The source.
The phrase itself, panem et circenses, it was coined by the Roman satirical poet Juvenal, active around, late 1st, early 2nd century CE?
That's right, in his satires. Satire X, specifically.
Okay, so what was he actually getting at? What was he criticizing back then?
Well, Juvenal's critique was, it was pretty profound and honestly quite cutting. He observed that the Roman people had, as he put it, kind of abdicated our duties.
Abdicated their duties. What did he mean by that?
He saw them as having basically traded away genuine political participation, real liberty, for something else entirely. They just anxiously hoped for, and these are his words, just two things: bread and circuses.
Wow. Just two things.
Yeah. And it wasn't just poetry. He connected it directly to actual Roman practices, like the annona. That was the system for providing free wheat to Roman citizens.
Okay, so that's the bread part.
That's the literal bread. And then, of course, you had the incredibly expensive public spectacles, the chariot races, gladiatorial contests, the games that filled places like the Colosseum.
So circuses.
Exactly. So for Juvenal, this wasn't just about food and fun. It was symbolic, emblematic, really, of a deep loss of Republican political liberty. Civic engagement was seemingly just swapped for basic provisions and a good show.
And it sounds like what he saw went deeper than just keeping people fed and entertained. It was a profound observation about, civic disengagement.
Precisely. Right. He noted that the people who once held real power appointing military commanders, high officials now seemed content to just restrain themselves, focused only on those two things.
Okay, so let's fast forward, bring it to today. We might not have emperors handing out grain or gladiators in arenas.
Hopefully not.
Right. But the essence of bread and circuses, it feels very much alive.
It absolutely is.
It's now more of a figure of speech, isn't it? Referring to, superficial appeasement. Achieved through diversion, distraction, or maybe just satisfying the most immediate, basic desires of people.
Yeah, instead of focusing on, say, excellence in public service or solid policy, it's about offering a quick fix or maybe just a shiny object to grab everyone's attention.
And what's truly fascinating here, as you said, is that the core implication, it hasn't really changed. It's still about the erosion, maybe even the ignorance of civic duty as a priority.
Exactly. And that makes populations politically passive, which, let's be honest, can be incredibly advantageous for those in power. We've sort of identified 5 key ways these modern distractions function as a tool. First, think of them as a release valve.
A release valve? How so?
Well, when people are under immense pressure, maybe cost of living is soaring, climate anxiety, perceived government failures, a big spectacle can give them something else to focus on. It kind of prevents public anger from boiling over.
Right, so it channels that frustration into something less threatening, more manageable.
Precisely. Instead of, rallying against rent hikes, they might be passionately debating a celebrity scandal online.
Okay, I see that. What's the second way?
Second, they can serve as political cover. While the public is fixated on some huge spectacle, leaders can potentially, quietly pass unpopular policies, maybe hide mistakes, or just delay accountability.
The classic news dump on a Friday afternoon.
Like a perfect example, when public attention is already drifting towards the weekend. So while our attention is caught by, some viral video,
something really critical could be slipping through unnoticed.
That's the core idea. Third, it's a powerful tool for narrative control.
Controlling the story.
Yeah. Those in power can steer the public debate towards something really emotionally charged, but maybe relatively less impactful in the grand scheme of things. It diverts attention from more systemic, maybe more challenging issues. It basically dictates what everyone's talking about.
Okay. And number 4.
Fourth, it can function as a division strategy. If these distractions create camps, Team A versus Team B over some celebrity drama or a sports controversy.
Right. People pick sides.
Exactly. Then people are too busy arguing amongst themselves to unite and demand real systemic change from their leaders.
Keep them bickering over the small stuff so they don't unite against the big problems. Makes sense.
And finally, number 5, it's about the normalization of passivity.
How does that work?
Well, over time, if you're repeatedly exposed to these distractions, people start to anticipate them, maybe even crave them. Citizens might begin to see politics as, boring or just too complex, while entertainment feels like the real world. And this process, it's kind of insidious. It helps maintain the status quo because the public gradually loses sight of their right and maybe their power to demand more.
Wow. Okay, so those 5 points really lay it out. What does this actually look like for us right now in the 21st century? Let's get into some specific examples, these recent events that perfectly illustrate how bread and circuses plays out.
Let's do it.
A textbook modern instance, I think, has to be the Will Smith-Chris Rock Oscars slap, March 2022.
Oh, yeah. That's an excellent starting point. A perfect storm, really.
So just to recap quickly, 94th Academy Awards, Chris Rock makes a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. Will Smith walks on stage, slaps him, yells. Well, we all know what he yelled.
We do. And that moment went instantly viral, dominated global media. It became what some call mimetic fuel, the source of endless jokes, images, debates for weeks, even months.
It absolutely checked all the circus boxes, didn't it?
It truly did. Global spectacle. The Oscars, frankly, had been seeing declining relevance, and suddenly everyone was watching. Ratings spiked beyond the memes. It fueled this intense celebrity fixation. The whole conversation shifted from, movies or art
to Team Will versus Team Chris.
Exactly, that binary debate.
But okay, beyond the spectacle itself, what was happening in the background? What critical issues might have been overshadowed by all the slap talk?
Well, think about early 2022. It was a heavy time. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine had just started a month before. That dominated headlines until the slap.
Right, I remember that shift.
We were also still deep in the COVID-19 aftermath. Ongoing debates about vaccines, mandates, economic recovery. In U.S. politics, the January 6 hearings were gaining steam. Inflation was surging. President Biden's approval was struggling.
And even the Oscars themselves had issues.
They did. Persistent criticism about lack of diversity, falling viewership, perceptions of Hollywood being out of touch.
So instead of sustained focus on war, a pandemic, political instability, the world just fixated on one moment of celebrity drama.
Pretty much. And it worked as a distraction because, well, it was simple. A slap is instantly understandable, unlike complex geopolitics or economic indicators.
Right. Visceral.
Totally. It's emotional pull, anger, humiliation, race, loyalty. It just invited endless commentary. And the media economics, undeniable. Outrage equals clicks. News outlets pivoted hard.
And the bread element, was there one?
I think it was subtle. Viewers were exhausted, right? Pandemic fatigue, grim war coverage. This offered a dose of entertainment chaos. Kind of silly, shocking moment that felt maybe more engaging to debate than the world's actual crises.
Okay, let's shift to something more recent. This one caused a huge stir, too. Rachel Reagan's Olympic performance, Paris Olympics 2024.
Yes, Reagan, another fascinating case.
So Rachel Gunn, Australian academic, breakdancer, her performance went massively viral, scored 0 points, unconventional moves, sparked a huge amount of media commentary, ridicule, memes.
Yeah, this one operated as a distraction on several levels. First, clearly spectacle over substance. Her routine, the score, the memes, the outrage, the debates over whether she even belonged there.
Total media storm.
Absolutely. It created this drama media event. Fantastic content for clicks and eyeballs, right? And it easily pushes down the more boring, serious stuff, policy debates, structural concerns.
And what was Australia grappling with around them? What might have been overshadowed?
Well, around the Paris Olympics in 2024, Australia was facing pretty significant cost of living pressures. Inflation, energy costs, housing affordability, these were huge national anxieties. Plus, intense political debates, climate policy, indigenous rights, broader questions about mental health, trust in institutions. The ray gun thing kind of tapped into national identity pressure, too.
How so?
Well, when a nation is dealing with complex stuff like climate or housing, sometimes people latch on to stories about national embarrassment or perceived failure much more easily, more emotionally, than they engage with, say, complex housing policy.
Right. It's simpler, more immediate.
Exactly. And media cycles love easy to digest viral stories over those needing nuance. There were even false petitions questioning her qualification, forcing bodies like the Australian Olympic Committee to respond publicly, which just further diverted attention.
Okay, moving into 2025, another event that perfectly captures this dynamic, and this one had some pretty severe real-world consequences. The Coldplay Kiss Cam incident, Gillette Stadium, July this year.
Oh, that was a striking example. Really shows the power of virality.
Remind us what happened.
Okay, so Coldplay's doing their Jumbotron song, the Kiss Cam pans to a man and a woman. They react awkwardly. The woman, Kristen Cabot, HR chief at a tech firm called Astronomer, covers her face. The man, Andy Byron, the CEO of Astronomer, ducks away.
And Chris Martin makes a joke.
Yeah, the lead singer jokes from the stage, something like either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
And then, boom, viral.
Instantly. Social media detectives quickly identified them. Turns out both were married, but not to each other. The story just exploded, led to their resignations from Astronomer, and then divorce filings followed.
Wow. That checks so many boxes for a modern spectacle, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Sensational fodder. Scandal, romance, betrayal, public embarrassment, all amplified by memes and endless online commentary.
Instant global attention from one stadium moment.
Exactly. And it dramatically blurred the lines between private and public life. Personal relationships just laid bare. Plus, severe real-world consequences, corporate, career, personal lives, completely upended.
And it sparked so much moral debate online, right? Infidelity, shame, hypocrisy.
Endless judgment. But while all that emotional energy was churning, what critical issues were maybe getting less attention?
Good question. What was going on mid-2025?
Well, ongoing economic pressures were still huge. Inflation, cost of living, housing, energy prices, those didn't go away. Climate policy and environmental crises, heat waves, bushfires globally often get bumped for juicier personal drama.
Right.
There were also big ongoing debates about corporate responsibility and ethics, particularly in big tech, data privacy scandals, AI oversight. Those were bubbling up. But this personal drama involving tech executives kind of overshadowed the systemic questions.
So the focus shifted from corporate ethics to personal ethics.
Largely, yes. Political issues, election talk, public health stuff, they often fade when personality-driven drama takes center stage. And ethically, it raised huge questions about things like kiss cams in a world where everything is recorded and can be weaponized instantly for public judgment.
It's incredible how one seemingly small moment can ripple out like that, diverting so much collective focus.
It is. And look, this pattern isn't isolated. We've gone deep on a few key examples, but you see this bread and circuses framework playing out again and again. Spectacle diverting focus from bigger systemic issues.
Let's quickly touch on a few others, just briefly highlight some prominent ones.
Sure. The Depp v. Heard trial in 2022, remember that?
Oh, yeah. Global live-streamed soap opera.
Exactly. Free entertainment, really, when people were maybe fatigues post-lockdown. That intense human drama easily absorbed attention that could have been on, say, the overturning of Roe v. Wade in the U.S., spiking global inflation, or the war in Ukraine.
Okay, how about the King Charles's coronation in 2023? All that pomp.
Right. Comfort, tradition, pageantry. It unified public attention around a shared cultural moment, didn't it? But it happened when the UK was deep in a severe cost of living crisis, and Australia was in the thick of its complex voice referendum campaign. Provides a nice distraction.
The Titanic submersible implosion in 2023, that was gripping.
It really captured the imagination. Cinematic, suspenseful thriller about 5 wealthy adventurers. Irresistible narrative. But tragically, it completely overshadowed the fact that hundreds of migrants were drowning in the Mediterranean around the same time. That crisis lacked the same easily consumable storyline.
Oof. That's a stark comparison. And the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce frenzy, 2023-2024.
Eek, feel-good celebrity romance, right?
Yeah.
Viral memes, boosted NFL ratings.
Yeah.
A massive, emotionally positive distraction. Created this collective cultural moment that definitely pulled public and media energy away from pressing issues like deep U.S. political division, ongoing climate disasters, recession fears.
It was everywhere. How about Barbenheimer in 2023? Massive cultural moment.
Huge. That meme-driven event, Barbenheimer, pulled everyone to the cinemas, generated endless jokes. But that collective cultural hug happened right alongside and arguably diverted attention from the major SAG-AFTRA strikes and the real economic struggles facing Hollywood workers.
Interesting point. And looking more broadly at Australia this year, 2025, any general trends?
Yeah, we definitely see the constant churn of, say, internal party drama or manufactured political scandals dominating headlines. This kind of spectacle, with its emotional pull and simple narratives, often sucks the oxygen out of the room for more complex but vital policy debates on climate, housing, the economy. It just makes it harder for the public to engage with substantive solutions.
These examples really drive it home. It's clear how pervasive bread and circuses still is. So, okay, for you listening right now, what's the toolkit? How do you start to peek behind that curtain? How do you spot when you're being distracted?
Right, that's the crucial question, isn't it? How do we become more active, more critical observers? Well, one key strategy is simply to track the timing of distractions. Yeah. When a huge scandal or viral moment explodes, just pause and ask yourself, okay, what else just happened? Politically, economically. Governments, as we mentioned, are kind of notorious for Friday afternoon media dumps, releasing bad news when the news cycle is dying down.
So if a celebrity story suddenly dominates Monday's headlines, it's worth checking if some unfavorable government report got quietly released late Friday.
That's a really critical habit to develop. Another useful trick: compare coverage versus importance. Open your news app, look at the top headlines. Then try to find the parliamentary agenda for the week, or recent economic bulletins, or climate reports. That mismatch between what's getting wall-to-wall coverage and what's fundamentally important, that's often the circus effect right there.
Comparing the noise level to the substance.
Exactly. And also follow the money. Ask, cui bono? Who benefits when the public is distracted? Politicians might gain breathing room. Corporations might slip through regulations. Media outlets definitely gain clicks and ad revenue. Tracing who profits can help you see who might have an interest in keeping the circus going.
That's a great practical step. And I guess we all notice patterns in the types of stories that grab us.
We do. So notice repetition patterns. It's often the same kinds of distractions, isn't it? Sex scandals, sports triumphs, royal gossip, celebrity meltdowns. This isn't accidental. These are reliable crowd pleasers. They work.
Yeah.
So ask yourself, why this story right now? If the answer seems to be because it's easy, emotional, and spreads fast, that's probably not by chance.
Okay. And what about the things we don't hear about?
Yes. Look at what isn't being said. Sometimes the silence is the biggest clue. During that Coldplay Kiss Cam thing, for example, broader discussions about tech industry ethics or data privacy didn't get much airtime, even though the people involved were from that industry. What story got bumped to make room for the spectacle? That's often very telling.
That's powerful. The stories we miss can be just as significant.
Indeed. And look, if you really want to dig deeper, utilize alternative media and maybe even freedom of information requests. Independent outlets often cover stories the mainstream might bury. FOI requests can sometimes reveal what government departments were quietly working on while the public was looking elsewhere.
Okay. Any other tools for our kit?
One more, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the power of humor and satire. Comedy, good satire, sharp memes, they often see through the circus more clearly than straight reporting. They can act like a kind of X-ray vision, revealing the manipulation.
So putting it all together, it really boils down to a core set of questions we should be asking ourselves.
It does. Just practice asking, why this story? Why now? Who benefits? And crucially, what's missing?
From Juvenal's sharp satire in ancient Rome to the viral spectacles of 2025, it's clear the concept of bread and circuses is incredibly enduring, still so potent. It's a timeless reminder, really, of how easily our attention can be diverted and how that diversion can profoundly shape public discourse and maybe even our civic engagement.
And that line of questioning, why this story? Why now? Who benefits and what's missing? That's essentially the modern equivalent of pulling back the curtain on the Roman Colosseum. It empowers you, the listener, to be an active, critical observer of this whole information landscape, to see beyond the spectacle, and ultimately maybe to demand more from your world.